Hello everyone, in this video you will learn about encapsulation and properties in C#. So what is encapsulation? Let's understand this in general way. Consider a washing machine. So if we have a look at this machine, from outer side we only see it as a box with some buttons, but we do not know the internal logic and the physical component present inside this machine. So all the internal components and logic, everything is wrapped into a single unit and it is presented to the user. So user need not to worry what is logic implemented behind this. So why they have encapsulated everything into a single unit and provided a box-like structure? Yes, it is to protect those internal elements. Now let's get into a programming way. In programming, we encapsulate, we wrap up data members and the methods associated with those data members into a single unit. For example, consider a class. So class contains data members as well as some methods which are all put together inside one class. So this becomes encapsulation. The definition of encapsulation is binding up or wrapping up of data and methods into a single unit in order to protect that data from corruption or hide that data from some other classes. So why we need encapsulation? We'll take the same example, class product, which is having data members like ID, name and price. If you observe here, we have defined public. So what is this? This is an access modifier. This is an access modifier. Suppose here ID, I'll assign a value here itself. Let's say 100 and I'll go to program.cs and here I'll change ID to 101. Now let's run this and check what output we'll get. So I'm getting ID as 101. Initially I have defined it as 100, but still I am able to change this value in another class, that is class program. So user has assigned a value initially, but the other class is able to modify that value. This should not happen. So that's why we go for a concept called encapsulation, wherein we can hide these data members from some other class or prevent accidental data manipulation from some other class. How this encapsulation can be achieved? To do that, we have to follow two things. The first one is you have to declare data members as private. So suppose I'll make these data members as private, ID as private. So what does this mean? This variable can be accessed only within the class product, not outside the class product. Now let's go back to program.cs. Here you can observe we are getting red line. That is telling class product ID is inaccessible due to its protection level. That means we have protected our data inside the class product. That's why we are not able to access it from another class. So this is the first thing we need to do. Now, how we can access this data? So these data members can be accessed outside the class by making use of properties. So first let's discuss about traditional accessor and mutator property. Now we'll define traditional accessor and mutator properties. As the name itself suggests, accessor is for accessing the value and mutator is for setting the value. So first we'll see accessor or getter method, public int, and then we'll define getter method get ID and we'll return ID. This piece of code is for getting the value, and now we'll write how to set a value using mutator or setter method, public void set ID, and then we'll pass an argument in number. So ID will be equal to the number. That means whatever the value we pass to this argument, that will be inside the variable ID. So we have defined setter and getter methods. Now let's go to main program. So here still we are having a red line. So how we can correct this? Instead of product1.id, just make use of set ID method and pass the value. So this sets value for product ID, and here also in order to retrieve that value, just make use of get ID. Now let's run and check whether we get ID. So I'll change ID value here as 500. Now let's run this and check whether we get correct output. You can observe here we have got ID as 500. Though we have declared our data member ID as private, we are able to access it by using getter and setter methods. So if I use these methods, I am not able to access it using object instance. So C# provides concept called properties in order to access the values by using instance. So now we'll write properties. First we'll create a property here. How property is created? Just give public and then the data member which you want to access. So I want to access ID integer ID. So note here how I have written this ID. My variable is small letter, that is small I, but while creating a property I have defined it in capital letter, int ID and curly braces. So inside this make use of get property, get return ID and set ID is equal to value. So what is this value? So this value is a keyword which assigns value given by the user to this variable ID. Now let's go to program.cs. Here it is showing red line, that is obvious because we have not defined any methods. So what I'll do, product1 dot, I'll make use of ID is equal to, let's say, 500, and here also we have to change it to ID. Now let's run this. You can observe we are getting ID as 500. That means we are able to set the value to the variable ID. By making use of get and set properties, we are able to assign values to variable using object instance. So here we have taken so many lines in order to write these properties. We have not written any condition for setting the value. We can implement any validation logic in the set property. So these properties can be used as read only property and write only property. If our property has only get method, then it is read only property, and if our property has only set method, it is write only property. If it has both get and set, we can read and write. So if I give here only read only property, I will not be able to set here. You can observe here error is telling product ID cannot be assigned, it is read only. According to our application, we can choose the properties which we want to use. So here in set property, I am not including any validation logic. If you want to include any validation logic, you can go for this, or else these properties can also be written as auto properties. Auto implemented properties allow us to write concise code, public, int, and here we are declaring a property. So ID, I have to set this ID and get this ID. So when I write like this, internally what happens is the same method which you are able to see above is executed internally. We are able to assign value to data member. So here we are not getting any error. So it should be perfectly fine. Run this program. You can observe here we have assigned value and printed it to the console. Advantages of encapsulation. Encapsulation provides increased flexibility so that according to the application requirement, user can use either read only property or write only property or both. And also it provides data hiding so that user can have better control over the fields and methods. Reusability of code, so any new requirement can be easily added without modifying the actual code. Hope you are clear with the concept of properties and encapsulation.